All
All
right.
right.
Hey, welcome to the Chartmetric presentation, 12:30, Friday, June 3rd. Um, and this is our first online portion of the Minnesota Music Summit. And I'll turn it over to Michelle at Chartmetric.
Thank you, Trevor. And thanks for having me. Good to be here. And good to be here with everyone. So basically, I'm Michelle. I'm from Chartmetric. We're a music data analytics company. And so we basically bring in all the streaming data and all the social media data into one platform so that you don't have to log into 15 or 20 different logins to find all the information about how your music is doing and how your audience is seeing you. And we pull that all into one place, and that's basically what the company does. And we try to basically revisualize and redisplay the data in a way that makes sense for folks in the music industry like yourselves, for artists, for labels, across the business. So I will share my screen to just show what the platform looks like, and some of the features, and then we can also go over kind of what you can do with it, because we do have a lot of um, people using the platform, particularly for like marketing campaigns, for like their artist strategy and how to improve and like connect better with your audience. That's what we help with. So let me do that. And my screen is being shared. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Trevor. So this is the platform when you first log in. This is Chartmetric, and you can see that this is a dashboard. This is where you can follow all of the artists that you're interested in, or the tracks or playlists, whatever it is. We usually have a individual profile page for, and so your particular interest, you can customize this view to what you'd like to see. Um, I am on the full access version. We do also have like an indie artist geared version that's just called the artist plan, where you can see specific data for one artist, or in the full access, you just get everything on the platform, all the features and the tools and the data that we have. So I am on the full version now, but I'll mention at what point it's more aligned with the artist plan as well. So on the dashboard, you can customize to your own view, but I'm going to move over to the chart section and get into what's available. So this is the charts. You've seen this before. Everyone's seen the charts. Basically, what we do is across all these platforms on the left, we pull all those into Chartmetric and then display them here. And you can click on each platform and figure out like which chart makes the most sense or is more relevant for you to look at. So you might want to look at like the Spotify top 200. Usually, yeah, you can find the charts on the other platforms. And what we do here is just like help you bring it into one place. And also, sometimes you'll see summaries so that you can understand without having to scroll through the entire thing exactly what's going on. This is more of like a one-stop shop and like all in one place visualization as well. So yeah, that's this. And what people tend to use our charts for a lot now is like this TikTok section. Um, so particularly like lots of A&R, and also sometimes marketers are using this to see like what are the latest tracks that are doing well on TikTok, because as you probably know, the virality of the platform, but also just like as a new kind of place to um, to connect with music and to discover new music in many ways. And so a lot of A&Rs are going on here to like find new artists. But then also if you are running like marketing campaigns and things, you can go in here and like figure out maybe what tracks will work well with a project that you're working on, or even if there is maybe another artist that you want to collaborate with, and you can reach out to them about their track and see if there's something that you can do together. That is also a big feature on TikTok, just like the shareability of it. And so a lot of people like referencing these charts that we get here for the different markets and also for different dates. And because these charts we do get officially directly from TikTok, it's useful to go on here and see. You can also subscribe, I think, to TikTok's own analytics, but that's also what we have here. And you can check out like extra information on the side as well. So I'm not going to stay on the charts for long because you've probably seen them before. But yeah, the menu bar is at the top here. And so you can go across and see like the different things that we have to offer. The list section is literally just lists of categories. So lists of artists or lists of playlists. Everything that we have in that particular category will be displayed in this particular list. And as you can see here, so we're tracking like almost 8 million artists now. And the more you scroll, the more will load. It's just like an infinite scrolling where you can just keep going down. I don't know anyone who's really scrolled past like a few hundred, and I probably wouldn't recommend. The computer might crash. But what you can do is use these filters on the left here to select for like a particular group of artists. So if you would like to find someone to collaborate with, maybe in the same kind of from the same location, and then of the same genre, and maybe of the same kind of career level as well. So if you're a relatively new artist, you just had your first release like in the last 12 months or so, and then of you're like a singer-songwriter as well. And then you can find those artists that might be more relatable or easier to work with on the same kind of music or what you want to produce. And then so you can find them here and then kind of dig deeper into their profiles. Sometimes we have contact information, sometimes not. It depends also what the artist and their team is willing to display publicly. But usually there's some kind of social media where you can also find them at. But this is just really handy because you can narrow down that group instead of trying to look across 7 or 8 million is quite extensive and a bit ridiculous to look across all of those. So yeah, that's basically what the filter section here does. And you can go into an artist's individual profile. So you can just click on them here. I already loaded a profile up the top. And so every artist on the platform has one of these profiles. If you're not on the platform yet, you can just like paste your Spotify link in the search bar here, and it will generate a new profile for you, or it will find you in our database. One or the other. It's like a kind of dual function search bar. And so if we already have you, you'll just load, or the artist that you're looking for will load here, and then you can just find their profile. Otherwise, you can start adding more information in if it's a new profile. So here, Brian already has a bunch of streaming and social media links added. And so that means that we are pulling in information for him. So as long as the link, the symbol logo of the platform is colored and actually clickable, it'll take you directly to the link that is connected. And so you can check to make sure it's the right one. And also that just means that we are pulling in data. So for here, you can see that he might not have a TikTok. And so that's why that's not connected yet. If he does, you can always update that too. And we do just ask people to help out with that to keep things updated as well. So we're pulling in the latest information. But yeah, this is an overview of, kind of Brian's career so far, what genres he makes music in, songwriter, all this kind of information. You can kind of take a look at, according to our data, how it looks like your career stage or your career growth is developing. You can see that here. And then there's just more top line information for you to get an idea of, compared to like in our database, how much you'd be doing if you want to see where you are against your peers, or if you want to see how much more you can grow as well. It's not really we do try to tell people it's not so much for competition, but more just like understanding where you are. And then you can also take a look at other artists who you aspire to be like and see like how they're doing and maybe what they did to get where they are today. So that's this. And then so the stats section, the menu here is on the left, and the stats section here just shows you your figures, your numbers over time, like how your audience has been following you over time. And so a lot of artists and also a lot of managers and labels tend to use this to keep track of their growth over time. And you want to make sure that when you have a release, or if you do a show, that you try to build on top of it, and it's not just like something that you do, you put out there, and then you just leave it, right? It's it's really up to you. You can do that, but if you are trying to build like an audience and a career on top of it, then maybe it can be useful to track that here. So especially with like releases, a lot of people like to make sure that when they have a release, there's a change afterwards. As you can see here, Brian had a couple of releases and then his listener numbers went up. So likely there was anyways, his fans were paying attention, and then additionally there was probably some marketing and some press around that to continue boosting it over time, because you see that the numbers didn't actually drop down straight away after, they kept going. So it's looks more like a combination of marketing and playlisting. A lot of the times releases that just get playlisted when they come out, they will do well for maybe a couple weeks or so, and then they might go back down again because they get taken off playlists as the rotation goes around. But you would like to try to push on top of that, because you worked hard towards a release, you put the music out there, and you want everyone to enjoy it as much as possible and to build your fan base. So being able to track this on the graph is really helpful, so that you can figure out if your strategy that you're working with right now is going to plan, or if it's not, that's also maybe not so much okay, but at least then maybe what you're doing isn't working as well as you thought it would be, and then you can adjust and change into a strategy that does work for you. So that's what a lot of people use this for, and you can see here, and also across different platforms. So you can see like when you do posts and stuff, do those have an effect? And also if they have an effect, what kinds of posts have more of an effect than others? I'll go into that in a bit. But these are just all things that you can track while following along on these graphs over here. And then at the bottom, there is this like neighboring artist section. So everything on this artist page, the overview, the stats, everything on the menu to the left as well, you can see if you're on the artist plan too. So the neighboring artist section is also really helpful for a lot of people to just get a sense of where they are, who's kind of similar or near to them in terms of their genre or their stats. And then again, if you wanted to like collaborate with somebody or just kind of take a look at someone else's profile and see how they're doing, how they got to where they are, I think that's one of the most useful uses of the platform. It gives you like a big picture view of how things are going, and then you can try to identify what could help you grow even more. So that's this neighboring artist. It just kind of groups things together so that it's a more focused view for you. And then if you are on TikTok, so it looks like Brian might not have his own TikTok profile just now, but that doesn't mean your tracks or your music is not being used as a sound on TikTok. I actually found that a lot of the time artists don't know necessarily when their tracks are being used as sounds on TikTok, and that's something that you can see here because we do pull in this information, or we try to pull in as much as possible. And so here you could actually check out like if you have any music that is a sound on TikTok, and then you can even see like go out to the platform. So maybe the video was removed, which also does happen, but you can go out to it and see like who's using. Yeah, there you go. It was removed, it looks like, but you can see like who was using who was using your sound and what for even. And then sometimes if there are like trends that are associated with your sound, it's something that you can push forward as well on the marketing side and like continue to grow. So that's been used. That's been a big use of this particular section, which is why TikTok is its own section now as well. Then the audience bit, this gets used a lot because a lot of people, of course, want to know where their audience is, and anything from marketing to touring as well, because if you're planning a tour, you can try to make sure that where you go, people will show up to your show as well. Often we get the question of like whether it's a guarantee. It's not a guarantee, because if people listening to you online, they might not show up, but that's when you can combine like knowing where there are people listening to you. You can promote your stuff a little more there, and then schedule some shows. And then, especially now, kind of post-COVID-ish, people are more excited to go back to in-person events and to be with live music and be in a crowd, that's something that you can plan for. And then you can check out here, maybe plan your tour accordingly as well throughout the different cities. So here you can see more. So, Brian could do a tour in the US, but then also you can identify if there are any fans in your audience who are overseas or in different countries. And then you can do anything from like a live stream over to if it's worth it and there are like enough cities to tour in, then you could maybe do like a tour overseas somewhere as well. So this just helps to also provide some reassurance that, when you go somewhere, you're not just spending money, because you do have to budget your resources, that it's more likely that there are people here in these cities who will attend your concert as well. And so a lot of promoters use this, anyone in the live sector when they're planning a tour. And so if you're an artist as well and who basically plans your own tour, this is also something that you can use this for. And we do show audience numbers across different platforms because each platform has its own native audience. And so your audience on Spotify might not be the exact same as your audience on Instagram. And so you can see a bit more information about that here as well, the kind of demographic of your audience too. So here it's kind of 50-50, but on the age side, leaning towards older ages as well. And so you can also cater your marketing towards them. So in this sense, it's understandable as well maybe why Brian isn't on TikTok, because it looks like his main audience on social media wouldn't really be on TikTok either. And so you might want to focus your efforts more than on like Instagram or on YouTube or something where your audience would be. So again, as you well know, like if you're an indie artist, allocating your resources properly and deciding where to spend your money is crucial, because there is only so much that you'll be spending unless you do have a larger budget. And so using the data to help you understand what would make the most sense at the time so that you are growing in a way that you're getting return basically on what you're spending is what the data is helpful for, and is actually what a lot of people do use it for as well. And so again, here you can see, so like the US makes the most sense for him, but I think Brian is based in the US anyways. So here, there is this audience brand affinity and this audience interest section. These are getting more and more use lately. So we have like expanded the number of brands, as well as the interest section here, the different categories as well. And the reason it's getting a lot more interest lately is because a lot of artists and their teams are looking at brand sponsorships and like partnerships that they can do, because that is it's an alternative source of revenue, and in some cases more lucrative than streaming, of course. But I think that that's not the only use for this section. You can use this to also craft your marketing campaign to be, again, something that ties in with your audience interests, so that when you do your marketing, it appeals more to them. They're more likely to engage, and then create that connection between you and your fans. And the engagement is really where we help to develop things a lot as well, because your fans can listen to you kind of more passively, just through streaming and through playlisting, but you probably want them to like go to your concert, to buy your merch, to spend and deepen that relationship between you and them, because again, the streaming side may not make as much money as when you engage directly with your fans and create more of that bond. So that's what this section can do as well, to make sure that when you market to them, you are doing it kind of wisely and in a way that would actually connect with them. And then there's just more information that you can see, like things like followers as well. If again, you're like working together with someone or thinking that it might be a good idea, you could, for example, look through your followers and see who's following you, what kind of like fan base that they have that might be, it could be the same as yours, and that might be easier to expand your audience. But it also could be that there is someone who's following you that you have similar fan base, but it's an area that you could grow more in. And so doing collaborations or working together with other artists or influencers or other people can also really help expand your reach significantly, especially if they have like a slightly different audience that you could appeal to but just haven't quite reached yet. That's one way to connect and definitely helps to grow your audience as well. So that's what a lot of people use this section for too. And then here you can see like your top posts on Instagram. So going back to what I mentioned earlier about seeing which posts have the most effect on your follower numbers, here you can also see what are the top posts, like actually what is your audience on Instagram liking from your content. And you can see here that for Brian, it's actually mostly like his whenever he posts stuff about his family. And then outside of that, it's also, of course, his music. And so this helps with your content strategy because you could post more photos with your family. And then that kind of is what your audience likes to see. And again, you can kind of close, like deepen that relationship and then tie that in with your music and then get them to listen to you more. This is something that we found does tend to work quite well. And so understanding what kind of content people like to see. Of course, you can post your own as well. It doesn't have to be like some kind of strict routine, but just understanding what your fans are interested in can just help guide you so that you can understand what to post as well and what would engage with them too. So yeah. And then there are other platforms that's not linked the TikTok's not there, but yeah, you can see that too. And then the playlisting, so obviously playlists are still quite important in the current music ecosystem. And so here you can see what playlists you're added to over time. If you're working with a label or even your team has like a playlisting expert on it, and they can help you kind of develop your playlist reach over time as well. You can use this to track that too. And then you can also see here like what kind of playlists you're on, whether it's like an editorial playlist, and some artists like to post about that on their Instagram, and that helps engage more of their fans who want to see them grow, and then it's like a full circle and they go listen to you again. Or it could be that there are some like indie curators that you like third party, so basically anyone that's not Spotify or Amazon or Apple, like the actual platform itself. You can see them here as well. And you can try to even find more playlists that you can maybe pitch your music to and get heard from a different audience as well. So this is both for keeping track of how you're doing and also finding like new opportunities to engage with. But yeah, that's this section here. And you can just go through all the different playlists that you are on and also get a better sense of what playlists you should or could pitch to. Maybe the playlist that you're pitching to is not actually like the right genre for you or not the most receptive curator for multiple reasons. And so you can check through here and see what you are on and then align that with who you reach out to as well. And because curators get so many requests every day of like, please like add my track to your playlist, making it easier for them by having done a bit of your research before to make sure that whatever you're pitching is appealing to them goes a long way and makes it a lot easier for them to then add your track and then for you to be heard by their followers too. So that's what this is really good for. And then if you have any radio play, airplay, you can see that as well here. This SiriusXM, this is a new feature. So I'm going to switch to a different artist because it's still loading for Brian. But here you can see now that we have airplay, which is so the radio section just now. This is just airplay around the world, and you can see where you are getting spins, which stations have added you to play, and different views of that as well. But now there is this Sirius section too, which is most pertinent for artists in North America, the US, and Canada. And you can see here not just which stations and how many spins you get, but also how much you're earning as well. And so this is one of the first parts of the platform to have a dollar sign next to it. And so this might be of use as well to keep track of like, how you're doing, and also how much you're being able to earn. Because all the other stats that I showed earlier, they are more for like audience engagement, and building up that fan base. But obviously, if you do want to see some kind of monetary return as well, you can now see that at least just for SiriusXM. But I think they also do pay more for like each spin. So this is pretty cool now. But yeah. And then along the menu, towards the left again, there's just like TV. If you have any sync, you can see that. Appearances on TV, charts that you. Oh, it's loading a bit slow. But any charts that you might have your track charted on, as well as any tracks of yours that we're following or tracking in our database. And then you can also see here like which tracks of yours are doing the best on the playlist, and maybe that's something that you want to push more, or maybe you have other like new release soon or something, and you can combine your upcoming releases with like a previous strategy, and then try to make sure that when the release does happen that you get the most out of it as well. So yeah, and then the last one is just like this events section. Okay, so his no upcoming concerts, it looks like, but you can see past concerts here that he did, and again, combine this perhaps with like the audience section, and this map of where your listeners are at the moment to plan for the best tour in the future as well. Again, like the audience section really gets used a lot for that purpose. So that's the artist section, and this is all available in the artist plan. So the artist plan, you basically subscribe to the particular artist you're interested to, and then so you can just see their information. Other than that, there's like the full access where you can see pretty much everything on the platform as well, and you can go through artists and playlists, cities, albums, and so on, as well as generate reports for yourself and kind of do some comparisons to figure out like where you could go next. And I think the other thing I wanted to show, so here we do have like these city pages, and I think these are pretty cool because most of the time we get asked for like where should I go, or who should I work with, or what should I do next, like what kind of strategy should I employ. And the city pages are really useful for just seeing in your area, what are people listening to, does that align with you, and also like who might be from the same city or in the same city even that you could work with, and again like expand your fan base and just develop your growth as an artist as well. So that's something that you can see here, as well as seeing just like generally across the different platforms which artists are the most listened to. They tend to be really big artists, so you can skip these as well if you want, or you can just take a look if you're interested. But yeah, seeing Shazam as well is pretty interesting because Shazam is more real time than some of the streaming platforms, because you actually have to like click the Shazam button to know what music it is, and then that's recorded and included in the data here. And so you can get a really good idea of like what people are actually listening to right now in this particular location, and then see if that like aligns. Maybe you could do a show there or some covers or something like that, to appeal more to like your local fan base, and then grow that way as well. So there are basically a lot of different ways to use the platform for your growth and for your strategy as well. I would advise most of the time looking at your artist page, and also picking out like maybe one or two other artists that you kind of aspire towards or look up to, and seeing like how they've grown as well. Following how they do over time as well, and seeing like the impact of releases and things. This section, I can't emphasize enough how much people really use it to plan things. And a lot of the times we do see a lot of artists, especially those with not a very big team behind them, who put out releases and then things go up for like a short while and then they go down again. And if you have the bandwidth to plan for like a bit more like a future outlook, I would really try to focus on making the like maximizing what you can get out of every time you do like a release or an event, like a show or something like that, because if you're looking for a sustainable career as an artist, it's really about building on top of the momentum that you gain each time you do something. And this is really helpful for that. Like you can see here, the numbers might be a little bit low, but that's fine because it's like also what you're looking to build over time. And it looks like Brian's just really been aiming for continuous growth, which is good because you can have sharp spikes but then drop back down to where you were before versus just like really building yourself over time and gaining that momentum, and then it will carry you out in the long term in the future. Yeah, that's basically the platform though. And if you log in, you can just create your own account. You can start with a free version and then always upgrade or downgrade, whichever one you want. And then I would encourage just like clicking around, looking for your artist, whether that's yourself or someone that you manage in the search bar, pasting things in, and then taking a look at what we have and also what more we can do for you as well. But everything is usually connected on the platform. Between artists and tracks, or between our platform and external platforms as well. And so it's really about trying to bring everything together in one place to make it as easy and as organized as possible for you to kind of plan for your future. So yeah, that's basically what I have to show today.
Hey, all right. Thank you, Michelle. Any questions here from in the classroom, perhaps?
I got one question.
Okay, one question.
On the TV, under AirPlay, I'm curious if she's pulling the data, if Chartmetric is pulling data from like ASCAP and BMI.
Can you hear that, Michelle?
Can you hear that?
Yeah. So for the TV, it's from TuneFind and TV Maze, and we are aware as well that those are supplemented by just like fans adding to those databases. So we are looking for alternative sources of data as well. But for now, that's where that information comes from. And for the AirPlay, we work with ACR Cloud, who does like audio fingerprinting of radio spins, station AirPlay. And so we pull that information in from them. And so we track right now here, 2,000, just over 2,000 radio stations. And we are looking to boost that to, I think, about 3,000. It's not every station around the world, but the reason is because that's kind of costly to track every single one. But what we've tried to do is discuss with people in the industry, with artists, like what stations that they think are most pertinent, that they want to know about when they get played on there. And so that's what we're tracking. For the Sirius XM, I do believe we get that directly from them. So that is directly like a direct partnership.
Thanks.
I have a quick question. Hi, I'm Jocelyn. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing with us. This is awesome. So do you have a section where we would be able to contact the curators of the playlist or the radio stations, like marketing, the people that are over programming?
Yeah. So you can go to like a station, like a radio station page. The thing that we do have to be a little careful with is that what we show on Chartmetric has to be like public data because anybody can log into the platform and see what's available. So what we try to do instead is to connect like links for like social media and things where you could connect with the station or with like curators as well. Actually, if you go to like the curator page here, and then there's this filter having social URLs. We put this in specifically so that you can identify the curators that we do have social media for and that you could potentially reach out to. We also try to respect that not all curators want to be contacted. And so we try to keep this up to date with only social media that they want to be contacted at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Piggybacking off of that, thank you, Michelle. Is there, I just lost it. Okay. The profiles. Is that so everyone can see everything on there? There's no like fan only version. Everyone can log in and they can see all of the data.
Yeah, so at the moment there is no like label only or artist only version. What you see on the platform, depending on the subscription tier that you get, but whatever is available on the platform is what everybody sees. Possibly in the future, we are looking into integrating slightly more private views. Like for example, there was a Spotify for Artists like integration in the works at some point, but it's a bit more complicated because that is private, and so trying to keep that view for a specific login is probably like a version 2 or 3 of the platform.
And this is a fairly new platform, yes?
Pretty
Sorry?
new. When did Chartmetric go online? It's fairly new, yes.
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 years now. But we do update it very frequently to keep up with the industry as well. And so generally, I think the analytics platforms tend to be quite new. Yeah.
Where are they based?
Sorry,
Where
I
you,
couldn't-
where you guys based out of?
The headquarters is in Silicon Valley because that's where the engineers are. But then we have also an insights team in New York, which is actually where I was part of until recently. I'm currently in the Netherlands right now just because my family and stuff is here. But yeah, we are primarily US based. We are a US company, and then we have like a few people around the world.
I have a quick question. Expounding on what you were saying about TV, I heard you say a couple of things. Tune Find and TV Maze, but then I missed the third one you said. Do you remember?
Yeah.
What that's called?
TuneFind and TV Maze for the TV sync and the movie sync, and then for TV show appearances, so like live appearances on TV. And then the other one I mentioned is ACR Cloud, and that's for our radio station, so radio airplay.
Any other questions?
Can you talk through the, I was just noticing on the site, the differences between the pricing plans?
Yeah. Here. So these are the pricing plans. There is a free version. The main difference between the free version and the paid ones is just how much data that you get historically. So usually for the free one, it's like 7 days historically, or up to 28 days. And then for the artist plan in the middle, so this one is where you subscribe to a specific artist. So say like, where was I just now? Okay, say Charlie Hickey, this is an artist that you manage, or you are Charlie and you want to see your data, you can just subscribe to this artist. So if you went to like Brian's profile just now, you wouldn't be able to see all of the information. You would only see like a free, like a limited version up to 7 or 28 days back. But for the artists you subscribe to, you can see everything that we have. And then there's a more detailed breakdown here as well. And then on the artist plan, you can have that full view for 2 more artists. So it's a total of 3 artists that you can subscribe to and have the full view. If you wanted to see basically more than 3 artists, it would be the premium, which is, I know it's quite expensive, but this is the full access version, and it gives you access to all of the 7 million artists and 10 million playlists, or however many that's in the database at the moment. But yeah, this is basically the 3 tiers that we have at the moment.
So people, when they log in, people can only see what you bought, like the player you bought.
Sorry, when you log in, people can only see.
Yeah, when I guess when people find you on this site, they can only see the plan that you bought. They can't see everything.
Yeah. So say you subscribe to only like the artist plan, and you only subscribe to 2 artists, you'll only see full access, full data for those 2 artists. You wouldn't see like the whole 7 million database.
Yeah, I guess I'm the artist profile. So people like say I'm a fan of Lizzo.
Yeah.
And Linda only bought the basic one, so I can only see all of her basic information. If I were not, like, if I didn't buy a subscription, if I was just a fan and wanted to be curious.
Oh, and it has nothing to do with what the artist has on the platform. It's which plan that you buy. So technically everything is available. And then if you buy the premium one, you can see everything. If you buy the artist one, you can only see for a particular artist, but you see everything that we have for the artist. And then if you're on the basic, you just see like limited to the past month or so.
So those are for subscribers, but if I'm an artist, everything will be available, or is the artist paying, or is the subscriber paying, or are we both paying?
Only the subscriber. Whatever the artist and the subscriber are the same. Does that make sense?
Are the artist or paying? Are they paying for it, or is the artist paying for what they see?
Um,
I'm trying to work, no.
Only the subscriber pays.
Okay.
So
The artist and the fan.
yeah, if you're an artist and you subscribe to the platform, you just select the artist plan if that's what you want to see. If you're an artist, you can also select the premium plan and see everything. It just depends what you want to see. There's no effect of like if you're a fan or an artist or a label or anything like that.
So the data is all there.
Yeah.
And then you, based on your subscription, you're choosing which portion of it you want to have access to.
Yeah, exactly.
And primarily, I would guess that most people are artists and want to see their own data, you know?
Yeah. So a lot of people are artists and want to see their own data. We also get a lot of like fans, like, you know, BTS ARMY fans who will then just subscribe to BTS because that's all they want to see. And then we also have plenty of people like on the business side of the industry who will be on the premium plan because they manage several artists or they work at a label or at a touring company and they want to see everything. And then we also do have people on the free tier as well.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank you. I think that what you spoke of was like intellectual and interesting. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I'd like to meet the people of these types of things, and I don't want to steal anybody's time, but nice to meet you too.
Yeah, no worries. Nice to meet you as well.
Michelle, additional question. One thing that was interesting is like the TV, the radio, and the YouTube. Is there any plans for Chartmetric to get into showing more of the monetary value? Like, you know, on YouTube, there is your advertising revenue. Getting more of those monetary values. Is there any kind of future plans for Chartmetric to show more of those metrics?
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say that we would like to, but a lot of the revenue related metrics or stats tend to be private, like only for the artist to see or only for their team or their label if they're assigned to a label. So even with, for example, streams, we do get some streaming data, but it's not everything because of how closely streams are tied to the revenue. So usually you would have to go into your own Spotify for artists to see that. That's why we were testing like integrations to see if you can combine that and log in yourself to give us access. But because of the way that the platform is right now, where anyone can subscribe and just log in and see potentially everything, this SiriusXM data partnership is actually one of the first times that we've been able to show like a dollar sign on something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for your time, Michelle, all the way from the Netherlands. That's pretty cool.
What time is it there?
Thank you.
What time is it? 6
Yeah,
hours
is
ahead?
it midnight there?
No, it's there's still sunlight, so it's all right. It's 8:15 right now, but it's all right. I'm glad to be here as well.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for doing this. Appreciate your time.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Good to meet you all. Bye.
Bye.